Hello and welcome back to the Only Fools Love Horses YouTube channel. Cheltenham is over. I don't know what I'm going to be doing with myself until the Grand National, which is just around the corner. Potentially have a little chat about that. But this video is going to be focusing on Cheltenham. We're not the first, and we certainly won't be the last to talk about Cheltenham. But if you can't build up to it, then there's no point in reviewing it as well. We're going to be talking a little bit about the key points that happened throughout the week. We won't spend an age and everything. We won't be the first ones to tell you that Constitution Hill is the best thing since sliced bread, but we will cover the main key points and a few eye catchers from all three of us throughout the week, and a couple of horses we'd like to take on board going forward. It's the usual boys. Here we are, Harry and Lee, after a lengthy week at Cheltenham. Lee, first of all, Cheltenham's over a week after the Supreme Novices Hurdle and the Mayor's Hurdle, Champion Hurdle. How are you after Cheltenham?
It's a long week, Ash, and it's very draining, to be fair. Like the day starts very early and you're not back into late, and obviously there's quite a lot of build up. We've done a lot of previews. Sometimes it's a bit of you can breathe afterwards, but yeah, no, I enjoyed it, and it was a cracking week, and it was a cracking week for racing, so I enjoyed it.
Oh, genuinely, one of my favourite festivals. I know we come out of it every year saying, "Oh, that's the best festival we've had ever," but that was really good. I thought it was one of the best we've seen for a fair few years now. Harry, Facile Vega Club CEO. Apart from Facile Vega, it must have been a fantastic week for you as well, despite some of the losses there.
But to be fair, it's not all about punting, is it? This game is all about opinions. We've seen so many of them on the build-up. We've seen so many of them on the review side as well. But just those 4 special days, and it just brings everyone together, and everyone's talking about how special, like Honeysuckle, watching Honeysuckle come into the winners' enclosure a year after, and obviously everything that's gone on, and then the rainbow after. It's just a special week. It's just superb. And listen, you can't be talking about it right now for next year, but listen, I just completely love it. It's what the sport is all about, and it's what the sport needed, is more importantly. The sport definitely needed those uplifting stories. It's what it's all about, those grassroots stories, those winning connections. Look at the Hunter Chase, exactly. It's just a special week, and if you can't enjoy racing, and especially at the Cheltenham Festival, then you're in the wrong game.
It was seriously a fantastic week. And that hour on Tuesday, we'll get into it a little bit more. That was fantastic. I'll quickly ask you both for the week. I'll come back to you, Harry. Are you up or down for the week, do you reckon?
I'd probably say slightly down, if I'm being honest. It wasn't the best week punting. I kind of knew as soon as Facile Vega got beat, Jerry Colon got beat, Shishkin was beaten. I knew it was kind of going to be a tough one to. But I mean, some good anti-post prices. A dream to share at Sevens was a big one. He helped. He helped me out massively, to be fair. And then Galapan winning. Thanks to Flynn from Star Sports boosting to 2-1. That was nowhere near to be seen. At the off, so I think he was 5-4 or something, 7-5, whatever silly it was. But he was a monster. So listen, there was some good results. There was definitely some bad results as well. But I don't know about you boys. The nap table did well. Did all right, to be fair.
Yeah, the naps table was okay. We at least found a winner. We'll talk about that probably at the end of the video, where we had our naps table running through our anti-post series. Lee, up or down for the week, do you reckon?
I was definitely up. Thanks to I had a backside a bit early at 80-1, so I was quite pleased with that one. And then
wow,
I managed to get a Sky boost in. It was 80-1 shot as well, and I managed to get that in on the last day. It was going on to Impervious. I took the two. There was two of them, 40s I think and 80s, and it was going on to Allegory Devassi and Impervious, and I actually backed Allegory Devassi, so I wanted her to win for more, but I had a nice 80-1 shot on Impervious, so they pulled us out. I obviously had a couple of near misses. I had Jerry Kilometer 25 beat on the line by a certain horse, but yeah, it was some of them results were bad. I ended up having 10 seconds. I counted last night at 10 seconds, so the winners were good, but the seconds were bitter.
Yeah, I think I did very well actually to cover my losses. I had a very good Wednesday. Tuesday was a bit middling. I think I actually was a little bit down on Tuesday. Thursday I thought I was horrendously down, but I actually did backside a early as well. And I had a saver on You Wear It Well as well. So I think Thursday I came out fairly sort of middle, and Friday was also good as well. We'll talk a little bit about the racing. We're not going to spend like too long on it, but we have to talk about that hour on Tuesday. Constitution Hill and Honeysuckle were just fantastic. We'll take them on as a joint effort because Constitution Hill Lee was just emphatic on the track. His jump over the last was incredible. I genuinely at the time had flashbacks of Annie Power, the way he jumped. I couldn't believe he got over. And then Honeysuckle, I took the executive decision to go stand in the sort of like the viewing area around that for Honeysuckle. And that was just incredible for her. It was a really massive hour of racing, and a true privilege to be at Cheltenham for that.
It was amazing. That Tuesday, I always love it. I like the Raw at the start, and I always love the Champion Hill. The Supreme and the Champion Hill are probably my best races of the week, probably of the calendar year, I would have said. I enjoy them the most. But then to then get Honeysuckle, for her to win, I didn't back her, but I loved it, and I still cheered at home. And I actually stood next to Harry Fry, and he was going wild, obviously. And then I managed to be next to Rachel's mum, who was bawling her eyes out. I high-fived her Rachel when she come back in. It was kind of magical, and I was over the moon. Everybody in the stands erupted, and everyone knew what it meant for connections. Look, Honeysuckle is kind of one of them dream horses. Everyone loves her. But for what's happened to the yard, to Henry and his family, you are willing that on. You know, it's sad for Love Envy and their connections, but you were willing that to the post. I actually watched it again just before. Rachel, she had her head down. She didn't even look halfway up the, probably half a furlong out. She wasn't even looking. She was just motoring up, and then she looked up and saw the line, and yeah, nothing was going to get by her. So it was just a magical day, and I really just loved it for racing, really.
It's magical, yeah. When I saw Patrick pulling double on Echoes and Rain, I thought I'm going to have to choose my allegiances very carefully here as a shout. But his effort soon petered out.
On Echoes and Rain, I think they didn't go no pace in the race, to be fair. And Echoes and Rain, I think, would be probably the one I would take out the race, just because she wants a strongly run race, you know, like she'll get that further down the line in a couple of more races. I think she wants a strongly run race, and they didn't go no pace. And to be fair, not many of them got into it. The front two were away and gone. I was very disappointed with Marie's Rock. I don't know what happened to her. And there was this few in behind. Brandy Love, she was never going to quicken by Honeysuckle. Do you know what I mean? So it was a bit iffy in behind, but it was a cracking race either way.
I think it's just something with the Irish jockeys, and it's something that's well known, is that they, instead of the sort of British where they'd like to be fairly prominent most of the time for a winning run and they take it on, the Irish take sort of quite a lenient sort of like, we'll hold them up and we'll see how much they find. I actually got speaking to people in the press room a little bit just about just the riding of the Irish jockeys, and they said that Patrick Mullins specifically, apparently he likes to sort of hold his horses up a little bit. And then like he likes them to find it at the Cheltenham Hill, and he believes if they don't find it at the Cheltenham Hill,
look at Guy
de Menil. Yeah, he was miles back, wasn't he, at one point?
Yeah. But it's like, it's one of those, Ash. I just want to mention and just echo your thoughts there. Just on Patrick's riding a Guy de Menil, and he does it every year. I mean, if they go too hard, they tend to go so hard in front all the time, especially in those races, and it's like those 4 milers especially. There's no point going so hard out in front when you just know they're going to. Paul Townend's ride, especially on Galopin des Champs.
Oh, that was magic. That was magic.
Mean, in the heat of battle, and Rachel Blackmore's on the wrong side of the fallers when they all tipped up. Galopin des Champs, he was ridden for luck. He got it. That's what you need. But these Irish jockeys are stone cold. They're stone cold. They know if they're going too quick, then they'll sit off. If there's no pace in the race, they'll just move up. You won't even notice them. They'll just keep moving up, and before you know it, 5 lengths in front, going around the bend, and they're absolutely sail away. So no, it's
They're
special.
just
Though, isn't
they're,
it?
they're just very much taught just to wait, and then when it gets that moment, they wait again. Like it's very much a waiting game. You saw it with Echoes and Rain,
Yeah, count to
Mr.
5,
Incredible,
isn't
and the
it?
Kim Muir. Exactly, yeah. Like both of those rides, like Mr. Incredible in the Kim Muir, Echoes and Rain, like they were very much waiting rides. And if the race doesn't go for them, it's a bit of a shame. It's just one of those things. I suppose that's covering both those horses there. Harry, Constitution Hill, Honeysuckle, fantastic. Really mustard. And like Constitution Hill, he's just seriously incredible, isn't he? We'd love to see him. I personally would love to see him go over fences next season. I think we all would. It's a case of whether we'd love to see him, whether it actually happen. I'd love to see it. I think it's got a fair chance of happening now. To go over fences next season. I think it'd be, it wouldn't be 1,000,000 to 1.
I think I don't think that depends on the owner. I think Michael Buckley is quite adamant of going fencing. However, I think Nicky, if you're in Nicky's position, you've got every champion hurdle sewn up for the next few years. On a business side of things, why change? But for a sport who loves to admire, and for everybody who wants to dream, you just think, what could he do over fences? But it will take a little bit of behind the scenes schooling, I'd say.
Do you
But
think
he's just so special.
it's either you do a dawn run and try and do the Gold Cup as well and keep stepping up, or do you do an Isterbrack and try and get the 3 champion hurdles?
Well,
I think you have
a
to,
tricky
surely.
one. You've got to. I think you've got to. At this stage, the reputation he's got, his fan club that he's brought with him, the scope he showed at the last is just phenomenal. So I'd say there's no reason not to go fencing with him. But
Look, it's obviously, there's only one man that pays the bills. There's only one man that owns the horse. So it's obviously his decision. We're all speculating at this. I personally would love to see it. Like, it'd just be fantastic. He jumps his hurdles so well. Like, he jumps them really well. Lovely sort of action over them. And this isn't a new thing, by the way. Michael Buckley talking about Gold Cups with him. I saw the article in the Racing Post the other day. He spoke about the Gold Cup after a Supreme win. I remember it vividly in the parade ring. Him speaking about the Gold Cup and what this horse could be. It was sort of off comments, but it wasn't like it was actually him joking and saying it can't happen. He was saying that this could be something we could have here. So I think this has been in the mind of Michael Buckley. And look, he's a man who doesn't. He's a very game owner, I must say that. And it'd be interesting to see how he goes. But an absolutely magical hour. That moment on Tuesday. And we've got a couple of eye catchers to sort of talk about. It's labelled eye catchers there at the bottom. It's just horses we want to speak about that happened on the Tuesday because, we want to be able to review most of the racing and talk about what we want, get it off our chest. Harry, a couple of horses you want to mention on the Tuesday?
Yeah, I want to first. I'll go in chronological order. I did think that Oscar Elite's ride was ridiculously good. Now, I know obviously we mentioned there's so many good winning rides, but there's so many good losing rides as well. Like Oscar Elite was out the back the whole way. He raced wide. He raced 5 wide all the way around. He didn't jump that well. And Harry Cobden, even on the first circuit, was little tapping away. I was stood at the second last. I was thinking, this horse has got no chance. Ripped up my ticket, and I thought, oh God, like here we go. He made that move down at the back, and he just kept going. And the front 5. I mean, I know there was 14 lengths between first and fifth, but there was 28 from the 5th to the 6th. So, 14, sorry, I should say. There was 28 lengths from 6th to first. So it was 14 lengths from 5th to 6th. And where Oscar Elite came from, he's definitely a winner in waiting. And another one I do want to mention. Now, I don't think that Gaia de Menil would have won the National Hunt Chase. I did think that Mala Mission did have a massive chance, but I did think that Chemical Energy had an even bigger chance. Now, he just got left in front way too soon.
The ground went for him as well, didn't it? The ground wasn't really to his suiting.
Listen, it wasn't. And he got Jamie Codd, no fault of his own. He was there so early, and this horse did not want that. I think that he's definitely a winner in waiting. He just got nabbed coming up the running from a horse who was patiently waited with. He was ridden to get the trip. People saying he'll get the national trip. I don't think he will. I think he was ridden to get that 3-6 at Cheltenham. That's it. I think Chemical Energy was really unlucky. So those are the 2 that I'd be taking out of the Tuesday.
Any horses to mention from your side, Lee?
Just one I did think ran a good race was Diverge in the Supreme.
Yes, I agree.
I think he was 3rd, and he only had 2 runs for Willie Mullins. He was behind High Definition the first run, and then the second run he bolted up in a egg and spoon race. But then to come there and he travelled quite well. He stayed on, best of the rest after Marine National and Vasile Vega, and I thought he ran a good race considering them are more battle hardened horses. And just want to note maybe he's going forward. He's in the right colours and he's with the right people. So Diverge from the Supreme.
Yeah, he's by Frankel as well, so he could be very interesting. I thought he's very much ridden to sort of pick up the pieces, but I thought he picked up the pieces extremely well. I thought Marine National actually was very good. I thought he's a very good winner. I have a sneaky feeling in the back of my head that it might not turn out to be a vintage Supreme.
I agree.
I have a feeling, and look, we don't know until these horses progress onwards to what they're going to do in open company, but I have a feeling, just like a niggling feeling, that I don't think this is going to be a vintage Supreme. I don't know how much the form will hold, but I thought, above all else, I thought Marine National was good. I thought he was very good. I thought it was an absolutely mustard ride by Mikey O'Sullivan. I'm not the first to tell you, Andrew Blair White has told you a million times, but he's a fantastic jockey. And when we've got jockeys that are going to be leaving the game, Davy Russell is going to be going very soon, I'm sure. Plenty of older jockeys have been leaving the game in the past couple of years, and there's still a few to go. He's one where you could really sort of think, like, this guy could be good. I thought he was very good.
Just quickly on him, he as well. So he had the double on the day, and obviously won on Jazzy Matty, but he could only claim 3 here, and he's claiming 5 at home. So it shows his talent even better. But just a quick point on that. But he's spot on. Just to say as well, Marine National, I think, is going to go Arkle route, they said, afterwards as well.
Yeah, they're going to go Arkle. I think that was pretty likely. Barry Connell said that immediately after. I thought Michael Sullivan was mustard. His final 3 furlongs wasn't the quickest now. When you're comparing it against the rest of the times, I think he was 30th for quickest 3 furlongs. So it wasn't maybe the quickest in time. And the actual overall time was fairly slow compared to, I suppose the Arkle, which was over fence, obviously, but it's similar distance. So I think it's very interesting, that race. I'm not sure how well that's going to turn out in time. Mr. Freedom, big eye catch for me in the Boodles. I believe the saddle slipped for Robbie Dunn, and there's like a bit of a jostling match between him and Harry Skelton after the final hurdle coming down the hill because his saddle slipped. Harry Skelton's trying to get through a gap. Bit of mismatching there, a bit of weaving across the track. But I thought he's a massive eye catcher, Mr. Freedom. So he's definitely one to watch for me personally. And I thought the Gotha ran a good race in the Ultima. He was off 149 after his Dublin Racing Festival win. He's stepping up in trip there. He's entered in the Irish National, and it seems like it's all systems go as long as he's come out the race well for that race. I think it could be very interesting. I thought he galloped very well. And I think that sort of extra trip could be interesting. Massive heartfelt to the Moore Ryans and to Martin Brazel, fast or slow, second at the festival again. I was on him. I couldn't believe he didn't get up. Same goes for an epic song in the Coral Cup. Could not believe those Moore Ryan horses didn't get up.
That was the horrible one.
Yeah, that was a very much big eye catch there, Campron. But I just couldn't believe those Moore Ryan horses didn't get up. I still can't believe it's this day, and they will have their festival winner. I think the last one was City Island potentially, so they will have another one.
They'll just never win the Ultima though. They will never win it. It's just regardless of how unlucky you come, they're never going to win that race.
Just can't believe it. But anyway, before I get a bit too stuck up on it, Energumen obviously feature race on the Wednesday. Bit of a non-contest, I thought, gents. He won it with his head in his chest. Fair play to him. Conditions came to him. Edwardstone underperformed. Thought Captain Guinness ran a good race in second, but taking actual things out of the race, I can't really take much out of it. I thought he was very good. That's all I have to say. Lee, do you have anything to add to Energumen?
I kind of disagree. I thought that they had the chance. Edit Adajit had his chance. Captain Guinness did travel really well. He had his chance. He was just outclassed. I know conditions went in Energumen's favour, but he jumped like a buck and he bolted in. He was doing handstands at the line. So I think he's won it on merit. I know Edwardstone, look, he was a long way out of it again, same as the Clarence House. So even at the start, you can blame it at the end and say he hasn't run his race. He still wasn't in it at the start. So for me, I think he's absolutely hosed up, and I think he was clearly the best in them.
Oh no, obviously it's clearly the best. I'm not knocking the horse at all. It was a very, very good run, but I can't really, as much as I can sort of wax lyrical about horse, I just can't really take much out of the race. He was very, very good, but there's nothing really I can add to
But
going forward. And
what's people? I think a lot of people have crabbed it, and I'm probably in a 1% group think that he's won it on his merit. But whereas people say as the races fell apart, but I mean, look, you can only
oh
do
no, it
what
was
you
good.
do.
I'm
It's
not.
not like look, it's not a Shishkin. Whereas Edwardstone hasn't pulled up. Editor G2 won the Clarence House, has already beaten him. He's still there coming to the home bend, and he's ran his race. Captain Guinness, who's a graded horse, he's ran his race and travelled like a dream, but he is absolutely hosed up.
Oh no, yeah, no, I'm not knocking him. Of course, I'm not knocking. He's
No,
a
I
very,
know.
very,
I
very, very
just
good
seen people
horse.
like crabbing the race as fell apart, which I half get, but at the same time, he's skated in.
I just think it's disappointing that Edwardstone potentially didn't go to, well, he obviously didn't go to his best, and he's not going to be seen for the rest of the season, so they might find something wrong with him. Harry, anything to add on Energumen's winning the Queen Mother? Is very good head in chest moment, and he's now a 2-time champion chase winner.
Listen, he was good. He was very, very good. Conditions fell. The money was down for him. They all knew he was a better horse than what he showed in the Clarence House a few months ago. He beat Captain Guinness by 10 lengths, but yeah, I mean, if you ran that race today, you'd expect Energumen to beat Captain Guinness by 10 lengths every single day, twice on a Sunday. So I think it's not really.
Sorry, I missed that. Did you say that Energumen's going to beat would beat Edwardstone? Did you say that, or Edwardstone would beat Energumen?
100. No, he'd beat Edwardstone and Captain Guinness every single time.
I missed that. I was just checking what you said.
He just I said about Captain Guinness, but he should beat Captain Guinness. I mean, the horse is officially rated 175. Captain Guinness has probably run a career best, I'd say, in second. That was his best run for a long, long time. G had no excuses. Everyone knew that he wasn't going to get a lead like he was in the Clarence House. And Grenadine doesn't go on soft. I'm convinced of that. So the rest in behind, what is he beating? Because you can't really look at Edwardstone was beat after a few fences. Never mind coming down the hill, he was beat. And I wouldn't read too much. I think the upcomers, the likes of Impere Pass, the likes of Marine National, if he goes chasing, I think they'd put it up to him. And I really do.
The winner of the Arkle, El Fabiolo.
Yes, Al Fabiolo. That's who I meant. I did meant to say Al Fabiolo. My bad. They just had such a good week, the owners, didn't they? I just completely forgot. It's Al Fabiolo was good, but I think if you're going out of the Mullins camp, what Al Fabiolo showed in the Arkle, and we'll get onto that. Well, no, we won't get onto that, but he will definitely put it up to Energumen next year.
I thought El Fabiolo, by the way, I forgot to sort of mention it. I forgot off my sheet here. I thought El Fabiolo was very good. I thought he was very good. He sort of just ran the race perfectly.
And he still didn't jump well.
None of them jumped well at that Arkle, to be fair. Not one of them jumped well.
It's just it was a great performance by El Fabiolo. I thought he was very good. They stepped up and tripped with John Bond now to Aintree, which they've always sort of murmured about him. They've always said he wants to step up and trip, and then now going to Aintree. So it's very, very much see how John Bond goes. But I thought El Fabiolo was very good. He is clearly a very, very good horse, and he's got less experience under his belt than John Bond. So it's very exciting to see how he can go. We'll talk about a little bit the rest of Wednesday, but I suppose the first race we have to go to, Lee, is the Brown Advisory. Jerry Colomb, Nap of the Festival, done by the Real Whacker, my anti-post selection. A little bit of a smile there, but I'll go from your perspective first of all. Jerry Colomb, many saying he's an unlucky loser of the Brown Advisory.
He didn't jump great for me. I just think I watched it a few times, obviously, just to make it even more sickening for us. But I think if he had been booted into the last, he would have got that straight a bit quicker. I think he should have wound him up more. He's a strong steer. Look who a judge jockey, but from the outside, you just think, he steers well. The Real Whacker was, the debate of the Gold Cup, but he's won over 2.5. Was he going to steer as well as Jerry? I would have had it that Jerry should have been booted into it a bit more and went for home a bit more and used his stamina, and he's had to come with a rattle, and he's just denied on the lane. Look, it was a great ride. Sam Thomas he'd probably, if I had a horse, he'd be the one I'd want because he does put them into it. He makes their mind up and he goes from the front and he's not messing about. And
as in, sorry, Sam Twiston Davis. Sorry.
Yeah, Sam Twiston there. Yeah. Who did I say?
Sam
I think
Thomas.
Sam Thomas.
I'll bring back Sam Thomas.
Bring back to Denmark.
If he was on a Gold Cup. No, Sam Twiston, sorry, yeah. But I think he kind of makes their mind up for them, and he rode a great race. And look, fair play to the connections. I do think Jerry is a strong Gold Cup candidate because you definitely see out that trip well. People who are crabbing conditions, they did come in favour of him as well, though. The Wednesday did get a bit wet and it come in favour of the likes of Delta Wake, Jerry Colomb and Eleghamine. But he was just beat by the real whacker.
Ashes froze.
Yeah, that's why.
Sorry, was that my internet there or was that yours? I thought what you lagged at the end. That might be mine.
Your face was like someone
crying
that because that was like that. Your face, Ash. There, your face was like that.
I think it was lagging on my screen. I was just trying to work out if it was mine or yours. No, I feel like I have a fun story about the real Whackers story, the race and stuff. I went out drinking with Josh Stacey, Andrew Blair White, and the jump show boys on Monday night, and went out drinking with them, and they were like, Ash, how have you put up the real Whacker for the Brown Advisory? How on earth have you picked this horse? And I was like, well, lads, I think it's got a fantastic chance. And the more I've sat on it, I think it's got an even better chance. And they were like, oh, we'll give you 50 quid if it gets round the place. We'll give you 50 quid if it finishes in the top 6. You know, they genuinely, like, they couldn't have it at all. And I was like, right, lads, we'll come and watch the race together and we'll see what happens. Because they're all massively in the Jerry Colomb camp. And I knew sort of like how much they liked the horse. I wasn't going to shout it at all. And like, you come down the hill, I thought, the real Whacker. He came a little bit off the bride a little bit there, did Sam. I thought, his race is run. We'll see what Jerry Colomb can do. And as soon as he jumped 2 out and kicked on again, I just made a big, go on the Whacker. And I cheered it home. It's fantastic. I tried not to get over the top on it because I knew how much those boys did.
Do you think Jerry Colomb is the better horse?
No.
Like,
and I don't.
Would you?
I think he's better to stay.
If you had to take one in the Gold Cup, though, who would you take?
I think right now, if you're backing one right now, you'd have to go the real Whacker. I think. Like I just think that
really
Jerry Colomb for me. Yeah, I think Jerry Colomb for me, he didn't jump well enough at all. I thought he jumped really slow and really high over his fences. I really did. Like, I thought he was just not good at all. And I said the race is run perfectly. I said how it would go, and he just ran exactly to it. Jerry Colomb would give him 2 lengths. The real Whacker would steal a couple more coming down the hill. Coming around the bend, if he's 4 lengths up, it's going to take a real good horse to beat him. And I spoke to Patrick Neville. I'm actually going to get an article out sort of later in the week. Sam Twiston Davis is saying the real Whacker picked up again. He was idling a bit in the front, and he picked up again once Jerry Colomb came to him. I know we don't know what would happen because the line was there and they both stopped at the same time, but I feel like if I was taking one right now, I think I'd be back in the real Whacker. And that's not to say that Jerry Colomb can't improve past the real Whacker, but I feel like there's plenty of improvement still to come from the real Whacker as well. And I think I absolutely love the horse, and I feel like he's not I'm not saying he's like a certainty for the Gold Cup or get on now, but like I'm saying, like you got to consider him. You know, he's won that fair and square, I think, on merit.
I think jumping won the day. I would have said because the likes of Cigar Hard and everything, they didn't turn up, and there was plenty in behind that didn't lift a leg. To be fair, Jerry Colomb didn't produce his best in the jumping stakes. I think the jumping won the day with the real Whacker, in my opinion.
Yeah, he very much did because his jumping was fantastic. I don't think he missed one. I think the only one he really sort of missed was going away from the stands on the first circuit, and he stumbled a touch, like a small amount at the last. But I thought he just won it really well. I think that I genuinely I have this like, the better horse lost and stuff like that. I don't think it's as clear cut as that. I think maybe Jerry Colomb could have been given a bit of a handier ride, but I think at the same time the real Whacker was very good. And look, he was going away. The Gold Cup is on the agenda for him. He's 25 to 1, something like that. So, look, he's probably priced accordingly. And look, we'll see how the season goes. But I think it's very exciting for both horses to go over into the Open, stay in company. Lee, quickly go through anything else you have for the Wednesday?
I loved the cross country. I really did. I got a kind of a real thrill from that race. When Keith Donoghue looked behind and tried to see where Galvin was, I thought this is it, game on. I thought Galvin jumped great, and I thought he really took to the fences. I did back Delta Work, so I was pleased. But I think the one to take out would have been Galvin. I think the mantle probably will get passed on to him, and the same as Tiger Roll. Tiger Roll passed it on to Delta Work. Delta Work, I think now he's turning 11 next season. It'll be kind of the time for Galvin. He'll be the 10-year-old, and I think he's the one to look forward to next season. I think he handled the ground, although if it was better, I could have seen the places reversed. But at the line, Delta Wake was the stronger one at the line. But I thought Galvin ran a cracker, to be fair, and it made for a great race. They pulled a long way clear.
Yeah, Galvin's the one I'm taking out of the race. I'm taking out for the national as well. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the national at the end. But as a horse take out for the national, Galvin's one for me. I'll quickly mention the Dream to Share as well. Very good horse. Very good horse. His times are very good. A superb ride from John Gleeson. The race was as messy as you could describe a champion bumper. And champion bumpers are typically messy. This race was awful. It was genuinely just like an awful watch. You didn't know what was going to do anything. A Dream to Share just pings up the inside fantastically. Now,
he tracked Patrick all the way around, didn't he?
He tracked him well. Taking forward, I wouldn't have any issues going to either race potentially next season, Supreme or Ballymore. I think he's got plenty of staying in him now. He's got a boot. He's got a boot full of speed. But I think he just needs gearing up a little bit. I'd have no issue if they was. I wouldn't be surprised if they went sort of we're going to potentially go Ballymore with him. I think he's a very, very good horse. But wherever he goes, whatever happens, very, very good horse, and fantastic for John Gleeson, who I've spoken to on a couple of occasions now. Top jockey, brilliant for the Gleesons, brilliant for John Kiley, fantastic horse. Harry, anything else for Wednesday do you want to mention on?
Well, the Dream to Share was my 7-1 nap, and he was my only winning nap out of the nap table. So I was so glad to get him over the line. It was horrible. It was wet, and everyone was thinking a Dream to Share is going to be a big drifter. 7-1 you're looking at on the day, but his horse he stayed his price. He stayed 7-2. I mean, Factor File was well back. The rain came. Everyone knew Factor File was Patrick's choice, so that was inevitably going to come. But I mean, turning around the bend, there's that brilliant camera angle where you just don't see Factor File and you don't see a Dream to Share, and then all of a sudden those two are going bang, we're in it, and it was then. I think it was the riding that won the day, and it was a better horse. This horse would win a group race on the flat. He would win. He's quick.
He's a flatbread. Yeah.
I seriously think he'll win a group race on the flat, and I do think he'll win at the Cheltenham Festival next year.
I think the top two are good horses. I wouldn't give up on Factor Fail, to be fair, but the both. I wouldn't give up for next season.
Well, now as well, the ground was a big factor. No one thought that Dream to Share would handle the ground. Well, definitely not better than Factor File, and he relished it. And he relished the hill as well. He was going further. I mean, John Gleeson was celebrating half a furlong out. He was saluting the crowd as if as soon as he got past Patrick, he'd already pretty much won. And it was, do you know what? I never thought I'd say a jockey younger than me and Ash would be winning at the Cheltenham Festival, but he has, and it was superb.
He's younger than me as well, by the way.
Yeah, well, listen, Lee, I think most of the jockeys that ran at the Cheltenham Festival that were...
it's AP
I think me and David Russell, me and Russell...
It was good. I'll give one eye catcher, Ash, if I would. I do agree with your Galvin shout for the national. Better ground would suit that horse. Pinged those fences, loved it. Your eye was always dragged to Galvin, I thought. Was given a brilliant ride. Definitely one for the national. 20-1, by the way. Big each way price, I thought there. One for me in the Grand Annual was Global Citizen. Now, he finished third. He led the whole way. He went a merry clip on that ground, which I thought was a brave move. And listen, I know obviously the fall hampered a few of the horses, but he had quite a few of these at it early on, and I thought that was a brilliant ride from Luca Morgan. And for next year, I think obviously the target will be this race. but he'll definitely be winning again. And third time lucky was also good in fourth because the ground would definitely not be to his liking.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting global citizen there. We'll go on to Thursday. We'll rattle through these, gentlemen. Cider Burley, Envoy Allen won the feature races. Two surprise ones there. Open up to the floor, Harry. Do you have much to say about Envoy Allen winning? Third festival win for Envoy Allen, then Cider Burley again. Third festival win, stepping up from Patem's wins now to Stayers Hurdle. What do you have to say about these?
Envoy Allen was literally when the race went off. It was weird because I had when you have that horrible feeling like I should have backed something else, and it was kind of like, who is it? And the one horse that it could not be was Envoy LN. But then I was thinking, Henry's lot are absolutely flying. I mean, Henry had a really good week. Rachel's on fire. I mean, Envoy LN didn't jump that well. He was coming off the back of a horrible run in the King George. Shishkin, I mean, that horse is he's so talented. He's ridiculously
Go on,
talented.
say it, Harry. You can't back him again. I'll never back it again. Go on, say it. I know you're itching to say the words.
Listen, I will back him, but definitely never ever again at Cheltenham.
Can you let us know when you back him? Can you let us know when you back him so we know?
I don't think. It sounds mad, but I just don't think he suits Cheltenham. I know he's won an Arkle. I know he's won an Arkle, and I know he's won a Supreme. But my personal view is that regardless of him winning, I think that's talent. I just don't think he likes Cheltenham. I just don't think he likes it, and
he just
I think
didn't get into a rhythm. The rhythm wasn't there. He just didn't get into it. If he hadn't had like 2 out or whatever it was, he would have won. He was staying on at the line. He was only beating a couple of lengths. Look, Rachel rode a mustard race because it was oozing confidence through our veins, and it went through the reins, and she was pinging them. Envoy Allen was absolutely like flying over them. But if he hadn't clattered that one, I think he would have won. It just lost momentum. He was bouncing on the back of some of them. If he had a bit daylight, I think he would have won. And I don't believe that's a Cheltenham thing. He's the best in the race.
I don't know if from my personal perspective, I don't know if he would have won. Like, I think that I thought the die was cast from early on. He was being nudged along like from early on, like from Nico. Like, I just don't think it was a going day for him. Like, he seems to be just like a character now, where he's like he needs to be on a going day. I had one of my close racing mates say that Shishkin doesn't like the rain. That whenever it's raining, he doesn't perform, and there's certain animals that don't like the rain.
Which is twice.
That's twice. So look, it's one to watch now. If it rains again when he runs, we can see if he underperforms or not. No, but I don't think it's a going day for him, and I won't be in a rush to back him. I didn't back him on the day. I won't be in a rush to back him again. I just need to. I think he'd be a horse that I potentially just be happy to sort of leave potentially if he went off of those shorter prices. Cider Burley is very good. I thought he was very good. Just a horse that loves Cheltenham. He had that back class form. I backed him, but I could never have sort of pull him up. You know, like it was a real case of if he was back to him, because I put him up for his win at Aintree, beating Flooring Porter, but his runs after that hadn't been amazing. I thought, and it's funny, JP McManus afterwards saying they were lining up the Patems for him, but they travelled over and he didn't travel that well, so they took him out of the Warwick qualifier. And they were lining up the Patems, and it just didn't happen for us. They were like, let's just go to the Stayers, shall we? And it's just won the Stayers. Whether that said anything about the class of the Stayers this year, you never know. I thought Tuipu ran a good race in second. I just thought Dasher ran a very good race in third as well. I think those are two very good horses to take to war with next season. Potentially Tuipu just progressing a bit more, getting a bit more experience on his belt at this level, at this trip. You could see him in the Stayers Hill next year. Very interesting there. Thursday, anything, gentlemen, Harry? Plenty to talk about on Thursday of weird results people didn't predict. What will be at the top of your list?
Well, yeah, you could say that. It was a crazy Thursday, I thought, but I do think that, and I know it's had a little bit of controversy recently, hasn't it? But I thought Princess Zoe ran an absolute blinder in the in the Mares Novice. I mean, it's kicked off massively, hasn't it?
He's apologised now. Paddy Keown has actually apologised to the Racing Post.
Yeah, well, it's all good doing that, but then it's just
everyone's seen it now.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, over nearly 1 million views on the original tweet. I just thought it was just crazy. But Princess Zoe, that was only her third. No, it was a second start, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was a second start. So from Punchestown, she was so much better at Cheltenham. And listen, even though she missed the last, I think over that 2-4. Do you know what? Next year, if she went to the Mayor's Hurdle, I'd give her a big shout. I really would.
Really?
Yeah,
So you
I
think up
really would.
interest for her then?
Definitely. I mean, she won over 2-4 at Punchestown, so I think she definitely wants. Definitely think she wants that extra trip, and she's a what's the French race, the long jump race?
The
What's that
Cadran?
called?
Oh, is it Cadran?
Yeah, I think it is. Is it the
I'll
Cadran?
find out. I'll find out now.
It wound me up. But anyway, she loves that. She loves soft ground, and regardless of the owner's tweets, I think she's definitely one to go to war with. Definitely.
Yeah, she ran a good race. While we're on the topic of that race, I thought the winner, You Wear It Well, class above. She was very good. She jumped the last brilliantly, stormed up the hill. I thought she was very good. Like, I know there's like these comments about Magical Zoe in behind, not getting the best run through or the best ride potentially, but I thought You Wear It Well was really, really good for Jamie Stone here. I'd say it's fairly like I'd say if I was to put money down on where they go next season, I'd say they probably follow the Love Envoi route. I think they're sort of quite keen that they followed the Love Envoi route this year. I'd say there'd be in no rush to change anything up. I think the owners wouldn't mind going over a fence at some point, but I thought she was very good. I'm annoyed I didn't put up on Twitter. I'm really annoyed because Jamie Stone told me at the handicap weights that she would go well. I just went and put money on Belle the Lioness instead. So that just shows how good of a Thursday I had. But no, You Wear It Well I thought was a class apart in the Mayor's Novice. I thought. Lee, anything for the Thursday?
I don't think she was a class apart, but I do think she was ridden really well. Normally in that race, you have to be kind of held up and come with your run. Like you said, Magical Zoe didn't get the best of runs. I did back her, and I was sad that she didn't win for Henry, but yeah, no, definitely best in for the Snowdon horse. Obviously, Mighty Potter was a disappointment in the first there, but I thought Stage Star, I thought Harry Cobden had him picking out in front, and he rode a good race as well. Look, he stayed on again at the end. Mighty Potter. People are saying, did he handle Cheltenham again? I think he did. I just think he's look, he was jumping well enough. He just was left a bit out the ground and couldn't make it up against a horse that's a graded winner and a good jumper. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't give up on Potter. That's for sure.
Yeah, I was in a pit by the first race. Look, Potter, I actually think I go as far as to say that his jumping was the best it's been all season. He travelled very well into the race. So there was absolutely no sight of him not picking up. If I was to maybe critique it slightly, I thought he was a little bit too far back.
Yeah.
Like if you look at his Drimmoor win, especially, like he went to the front because of did something fall or did Free Stripe Live fall potentially? I can't remember from the Drimmoor precisely, but something happened. He went to the front too early, and it was like a case of Jack Kennedy was always pulling back. He jumped forward, and it was always a pull back. You know, I feel like he's just ridden a bit too far off the pace. Really, like he has speed, but like at the same time, I think he's going to be a better horse going up in trip. I'm not giving up on him. I hope they step up and trip him because he stays on. He didn't have the best route through. Like he got knocked about a bit. He hung left. He hung right. I don't know what it was. He jumped really well. I don't think it was Cheltenham. I feel like people were just like very easy and very quick to go, right, he doesn't like Cheltenham. That's sorted. Or ignore him whenever he goes to Prestbury Park. It's not that because he loved the track. He loved going around there. He had absolutely no issue. He just didn't pick up, and for whatever reason that is,
he ended up in the stands at one point. Like near the line, he was near the stand side. So
yeah,
he's seen all of our slips, didn't he? He's seen all of our slips. Yeah. Started drifting over. He's just laughing at us.
He saw my 12-to-1 anti-post. There's the after time, and he went, let's just pull across. We'll laugh at Ash while he goes past. No, that was awful. Of the rest, I thought Sedham was good, but I thought a big shout out to John McConnell, a massive shout out. First festival winner. He's a man who deserves it, along with Patrick Neville as well. Two men who deserve it because they're just fantastic trainers, real fantastic trainers, give you all the time in the world, and they are really good. Big shout out to John McConnell and Mr. Incredible. He's probably skinny enough now for the Grand National, but I thought he ran a great race in the Kimure. As I said, thought the ride could have been a touch more handy potentially, but I thought he was staying on very well. Anything else for Thursday, gentlemen, or do we move on?
Move on, mate. Move on.
We move on to Friday, and we'll talk about a very good horse in a very good race, ridden by a very good jockey. Galopin de Champs was incredible in the Gold Cup. It was a fantastic ride by Paul Townend. He wasn't going early on, and then he was, and he's absolutely smuggled him into the race. And that picture of them jumping the last Brave Man's Game, Galopin de Champs, was incredible. Lee, it's a sight to behold was Galopin de Champs. In the morning when I saw him on the gallops, he was a real sight to behold. And yeah, this is a very nice horse for Willie Mullins and Paul Townend. Like they needed another one.
Yeah, look, obviously he had the potential from last season, and he would have hosed up in the Turners. Everyone was on then. You want to see a great horse come out this season and kind of build up, and he done that with the John Durkin, then followed on at Christmas, and obviously built up to this race, and he didn't disappoint. I was quite worried, obviously, watching going round. He sat last at one point, and he just slowly built up and crept into the race, and when he swung in, that was it. Party was over, and kind of you knew your fate, I would have said. Brave Man's Game ran a cracking race, and I think Noble Yates from a different parish to get fourth was a really strong effort. He was out with a washing at one point, and he's come flying home to get fourth, I think it was. So, but look, Galopin de Champs, it was a great race, and he's clearly a great horse. To power onto the lane, I think they jumped the last together, and then he's ended up. Did he win 7 lengths or so? Or 7.5 length, I think it was, at the lane. That's a mighty effort, because he enough quickened away from a Brave Man's Game there, and yeah, look, you can see him winning another one, and be interesting from where he goes on from here.
What we talk about there, sort of at the start, like it was very much like you're on the odds-on favourite. You know you've got a very good horse here. It would have been very easy just to go from the front, right in prominent, see what he's got under the bonnet. But it was very much a wait a bit more, wait before the last, and then go. It was a really good ride. Like I know AP and Ruby, who are much more qualified than me to talk about jockeys, was saying this was an incredible ride, but and you don't need me to tell you this, but I just like to say personally, I thought it was a fantastic ride and a fantastic just like horse. He's a real like specimen to behold, Harry. You see him on the gallops in the morning. He's this big thing, muscles popping out everywhere. Fantastic horse. And Galopin de Champs.
He's a bit like Harry, isn't he? This big thing with
muscles popping up everywhere. It's like for like Harry. Yeah, please, please stop. Please stop. Go ahead.
I mean, what can I say? I said he was an absolute certainty on that preview show. I just can't understand why people were taking him on. I just don't understand it. He was just, and he proved that. And Harry Cobden, I think was it Chepstow on Sunday? He said that he did an interview, and when Harry Cobden had a quick look to see who was looming up beside him, and he sees Paul Townend pulling double, you're thinking, oh my God, like it's going to take a good one to get by me, and this thing is absolutely tanking at his girth. It's frightening. It's frightening how good he is. And he wasn't the best in the jumping. He made a few mistakes. He made one at a crucial time when I thought, oh God, like maybe is he too far back? And then Brave Man's Game was kind of, he had a perfect run through. Did he get there too soon? I don't think he did. Harry Cobden rode the perfect race. We talk about good losing rides. That was a fantastic losing ride. He just got outstayed, and he got outclassed by an absolute freak in Galopin des Champs. Listen, the future's bright for him. It already is. He's a star. I thought he was a star anyway coming into the race, but now the doubters can just leave him alone and just let him win at his own. He's not going to be a big price now, is he, ever again to go? But it's just such a good. When we talk about these stories at Cheltenham, it's so good to see these stories. And listen, Townend rode that with balls of steel.
I think he's going to be very good to watch, and especially his division is going to be very good to watch, because it'll be very difficult for horses to duck him next season. They'll have to face up against him. I think the one point I sort of missed on Constitution Hill there is that the next season, these coming seasons for Constitution Hill, he's going to be running in non-events, isn't he? You know, like people are just going to be ducking and diving and weaving away. Like it's very much all these Willie Mullins horses next season are like, right, are we going to go over fences or are we going to go over hurdles? Oh, we'll wait till we see what Constitution Hill does. Like, it's very much a case of that. I think Galopin Des Champs is going to, it just so is. He's such a good horse. He's a problem that we've created ourselves, and the fact that he's so good. He's probably going to be running in non-contests going forward, which will be a shame. But Galopin Des Champs, I don't think you'll see too much of that. Brave Man's Game is going to come back for the Gold Cup next season. Paul Nicholls all but confirmed that. He ran an absolutely cracking race. Conflated ran a fantastic race in third. Absolute belting race under Sam Ewing, who only knew he was going to get the ride 20 minutes beforehand. He's going to go to the Betway Bowl. If he hasn't bounced from his run, because he was coming into the race fresh, if he hasn't bounced,
say it.
He's going to take some whacking. He's going to take some whacking. It's Conflated. He's not certainty. I would never use the word certainty.
Why?
I was very close to using certainty on Mighty Potter, and I didn't. And look how that went. But Conflated, he's going to take some whacking. He's a good horse now. He's a very good horse.
Can I ask, Ash? You might know. I didn't see it, but was the tactics on Galopin Des Champs? Did Willie Mullins tell him to do that, or was that?
Yes, yeah.
It
was very much.
I didn't see whether it was or not, but I just thought it was interesting. That I thought, is that off Paul's own back how the race started or not? Or
I think they were very much a case of they wanted to go out the back because they knew they had the best horse there. If they went from sort of like prominently from the front, they knew there'd be something there to take him on to try and worry his stamina. So they wanted to sort of like eke his stamina into it, just like toes in the water kind of stuff with his stamina to see how he'd creep through the race. And obviously it's a very much a dive bomb. It seems to be all good now.
But I want to say, Ash, as well, I want to say on that, like we talked earlier on the show about Irish jockeys and their pacing their heads. Like, that was a Gold Cup that was just ridiculous. It had everything. Ahoy Senor was running a blinder, and he had what? He had Manila Indo at it.
Hewitt ran a fantastic race as well.
He had Manila Indo at it. He had Statler off pulled up within what looked like he's pulled up within the first few fences. And listen, those that were in behind, they were toiling, and it just shows how good Galopin Des Champs is, because it was only him and last year's Gold Cup winner, Applautard, that were actually able to go that pace. It was just ridiculous, and it was such a good Gold Cup, and definitely the best I've ever seen anyway.
Yeah, it's the best that has been for a while now. Like, it was a good Gold Cup, and roll on to where these horses go next. We'll quickly, final part of the show, quickly look at other Friday horses. Harry, anything for Friday you want to talk a little bit about just to highlight?
In the Triumph, Ash, and obviously Lossiemouth was very good, but Zenta showed an incredible amount of progression. She absolutely jumped like a tree at Fairy House. It was awful. I think it was something like 1-2 to win that race. Hypotenuse was in second, but Zenta was. Honestly, I can't tell you how bad she jumped at times.
Twice. It was two. The two in the home straight.
Yeah, I think it was the last.
Should have been out the door.
Yeah, it was ridiculous, and honestly, that was such a good run. That was such a good run behind Lossiemouth, but then again, what do they do next year? Because we've seen it with Vauban and stuff. They're just this going into open company now is a struggle. But I thought it was a very eye-catching run. And Piper ran an absolute blinder, probably his best run since his Triumph.
Agree.
Yeah, no, ran very good. Pied Piper, very interestingly, the whip was never raised on him in the county.
He doesn't find. He
just didn't get there. But Davey didn't give him a single one behind the saddle. Which
I thought he lost the whip when I watched. I thought he had lost it. I did. It may be the case of that he didn't pick it up, but I thought he had lost it because I was seeing why is he not going for it, but
I wouldn't know if he lost it or not.
I don't think he did. I don't think he did.
It was good, to be fair.
I don't think he did. But I just don't think he finds, lads. I seriously don't. In the Triumph as well, he came there absolutely swinging, jumped the last, and it was kind of like, oh, go on then, Pied Piper. Didn't find anything. Vauban outstayed the horse. Did the same thing here. It kind of looked like, did he jump the last in front? It looked like it. And then
but he kind of pecked on landing as well. There's a few of them that done that.
But look, he was carrying pretty much top. I don't know whether he wasn't carrying top weight because Sharjah was top weight, wasn't he?
Was he?
Sharjah was 12 stone, and like he was giving over a stone.
I'll highlight Gala Marceau from the Triumph. I thought she was very good. Got absolutely no run, stayed on, travelled very quickly into the race, travelled like extremely quickly, so on the bridle. I reckon that form could turn out very nice because Loshmouth's a good horse. Plenty of improvement to come. Gala Marceau for me. Stay Away Faye was very nice. The finishing speed wasn't amazing. Chase next season, one to keep on side of because I think Connections quite like this horse. They really do sort of. They were quite bullish with a big run from Stay Away Faye and the Bartlett, and it's gone well for them. It's on the line, run a fantastic race in the Hunters Chase. Really good for Emmett Mullins. He'll be one to keep on side of in these Hunters Chases going forward. And Riviere to Tell, Jesus, oh my, absolutely sickening was Riviere to Tell. She's traveling like a very good horse into the race.
There's no way she'd have been within 10 lengths of those first two.
I had to calm down because I was telling people that she's an absolute certainty to win. She didn't fall, but I calmed down. She wasn't a certainty to win, but she would have gone very, very close, in my opinion.
Here's one
in that mare's chase.
Here's one for you. This is an open question for both and for those that are listening as well. Corbett's Cross ran out at the last. Now, my personal opinion is the horse was coming to the end of its tenure anyway. Now, I know people on Twitter were saying that this horse was coming to win. I don't think the horse was. I think he was going backwards. Chance. I don't know what you boys think.
I
think he was at the end as well. I don't say the end. I think he would have maybe been about third or so. I think Sandor Clegane stayed on like a train, and I think Stay Away Fair did it well. But I think going forward, that is definitely the one to take out Rick Corbett's Cross. But I don't think he would have won.
I don't as well. I don't think he would have won personally, in my opinion.
Inclusive.
Anything else?
I'm going to mention. I think Vaucelet travelled well, just didn't handle the ground. Just wasn't good enough on the day. Look, I know what you're thinking, but just for going forward, maybe the Stratford race at the end of April will suit him better. So he's won that twice in a row.
Are you saying he's a flat track bully?
I think that'll just suit him better. But he travelled well to the bend, and that was it. Party was over basically.
I don't want to say I told you so on Vaucelet. I don't want to say it, but I did say I thought you could take him on. But it's one of them. It's all a game of opinions.
There's plenty during the week that you
Potter.
Awful. Anything else, Lee, for Friday, or we'll move on to the Naps table?
No, I think that was it. Yeah, the one Harry mentioned in the Triumph, I did think was an eye catcher as well. But yeah, that's it.
Fantastic stuff. Naps table we'll talk a little bit about. Obviously, we had our running series. We had put up a selection every week. We had guests on. We had audience on. We've all done, as a collectively, guests, us three, and audience. We've all done shambolically. No, it wasn't that bad. We've all picked a winner. Lee, you have won. So I'll explain the system we've gone for. We've gone for 10 points for a winner and the SP. 4 points we picked a horse that came second, 2 points for third, and 1 point for fourth. Lee picked Korak Rambler 14-1 for the Ultima. Got a couple of seconds in there, a couple of thirds in there. 30 points for Lee. Next in the table was actually Harry. A Dream to Share 7-1 for the bumper, and you had a second in there as well, Harry. Trying to look down where it might be in this table. Fasar Vega. You had in there.
Yeah, great.
So superb, ting. Audience came in third. I think the winner for them was Delta Work by Ian from the Cheltenham Exchange. I came in at fourth with the Real Whacker, put up at 5-1, went off at 8-1. There's your value, ladies and gentlemen. And the guests, I'd like to say thank you very much to the guests coming on. Not a single winner. Well done, everyone. Well done, team.
We're going to have to change next year. Ban anyone from coming on, aren't we?
Yeah.
No, I just want to say a massive thank you for the anti-post series. It was a good bit of fun. We all managed to find a winner. We would like some more. But we've all managed to find some fans on the day. Big fun was the anti-post series. And also, thank you very much for the Cheltenham preview, verging on 10,000 views. Very close to it now. Thank you very much, everyone, for the support. That is all we have time for, isn't it, gentlemen? We've covered everything. Covered Naps table, covered eye catchers, we covered a review. So I believe that's all we have time for. Lee, do you have any competitions running or any competitions in the pipeline?
We did have the big bundle from Racing Tees. I didn't announce it because it was a hectic week. But I'll get that out with the video, and we'll announce that the big bundle from @RacingTees1 on Twitter. And obviously, thanks to Star Sports, they put charity bets up on our preview night, and there's a £400 went to St Oswald's Hospice up in Newcastle, which is close to my heart. But thanks to Pete at Risk for Rewards, he put his winning that up, Correct Rambler. So and he put his own money in as well, so he's topped that up as well. So money going to a good cause there.
And as always, guys, just
Fantastic.
want to say another thing. Like the fact is, us three as well. It sounds a little bit of a sob story, but we've done this from nothing, and it's just what we all love. So if people think that it's going to stop after Cheltenham, you're wrong. You know, it's just going to keep going and going.
It's going to stop after Aintree, ladies.
Yeah, it's going to stop after Southall next Tuesday. But no, we're just going to keep going. And listen, if there's any suggestions that you want going on in the comments, then just let us know. Either direct message us. Obviously, we're open to everything. Aintree's in the pipeline. We've got Punchestown coming up, what me and Ash went to last year. And then we've also got the boring flat season that we've got to get through as well.
I can't wait. I'm actually looking forward to the flat. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it now.
Oishin's back.
Oishin is back, yeah. Oishin, who's Oishin? It's Oishin.
Is it Oishin? I always say Oishin.
God, you remembered me. Sorry, Harry. Well, I've got on my mind. You mentioned Aintree there. The national horse. It's going to be very much like Andrew Blair White when he has his Gallant John Joe Army and he was HMS Collect. We'll have to find a name for me. Roy Marge for the Grand National.
You just said Galvin.
Yeah, he's the one to take out for the national.
You'll have 10 horses picked for the
I'll have 10 horses. No, Roy Marge has been my captain. Apart from when we did the national video where I said, I can't remember what I said now. Ain't That a Shame? And Sandy Thompson's runner will come back to me in a second. Sandy Thompson's run at a big price. I'll put that on screen now. Roy Marge is the captain of the team, 150 to 1. Now best price 66 is. I cannot wait for this horse. Go on.
I just want to say I done it a live on Twitter just before Cheltenham, and I see is to back Correct Rambler to win the Ultimate and then to win the National at 150 to 1. Mine's now 6 to 1, just so you know, Ash.
Very nice. Bit of value there, bit of value.
Only if it wins, isn't it?
Only if it wins. You can't eat value. No, but Roy Marge, the captain of the team, ran a very good race when giving £5 away to Longhouse Poet and Burrows Saint on the weekend. Will relish a step up in trip. All the team behind him rallying for the race. They cannot wait. I've been talking to a few there. I can't wait. It's the Roy Marge Army, ladies and gentlemen, for the Grand National. 6 to 1 best price. We move markets here, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we do. And it's Roy Marge for the Grand National. Oi, oi. I think that's all. I think that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to put you on the spot. Final thing. One horse take out the festival that hasn't won. One horse that didn't win, take out the festival. I'll put you on the spot right now. I'll say my horse, Gala Marceau from the Triumph. Harry.
I think that Chemical Energy will win a big prize. I think he's entered in the Irish Grand National as well. And I think if he rocks up there, he'll win.
Very nice. Lee?
I'm going to give you quickly one for the weekend if anyone's still watching. Coniston George in the last race at Kelso on Saturday ran a cracking race the last day. It's in a bumper, but Nicky Richards is on a 41% straight rate at the minute. Just want to keep an eye on. If it's a big price back at each way, Coniston George. But I'd still take Factor Fail out of the bumper. I think he ran a solid race, and I think he'll go well over hurdles next season. I think A Dream to Share is a cracking horse, and he's still one to watch, but Factor Fail for me.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much for everyone watching. If you haven't already, please do like and subscribe. The road to 1,000 subscribers is on. Let's get it before the Grand National, please, ladies and gentlemen. We're on 820, I believe. So the road to 1,000 subscribers is on. Please, before the Grand National, that'd be fantastic. If you haven't already, please do subscribe. Like the video, share it about with all your friends and family to talk about Cheltenham. Thank you very much. Please do follow us all on Twitter, and we'll see you very, very soon. Thank you very much.
Cheers.